And in the plasma, it also activates stem cells in the body. And so the stem cells actually are what get called into action when you have clean plasma, and then your body stays young and it regenerates itself. We found that with these components, the therapy creates a more conducive environment for your cells to function efficiently, which allows for your stem cells to get activated for rejuvenation, and it activates the repair process. These exosomes, they help in kidney repair, liver regeneration, gut healing. Some of the studies that have been done, even on acute kidney injury, cognitive function and brain health, protecting you against conditions like Parkinson's or Alzheimer's. Because these exosomes are so small, they do pass through the blood-brain barrier. Hey everybody, Regan Archibald here, and today we're going to dive into two topics that I think you'll find fascinating. One is a topic that we've approached called cord plasma exchange or plasma exchange, and the other one is going to be on exosomes. And so, what are they? Why do they matter? And that's what we'll dive into today. So, one of the interesting studies that was published in 22, and I found it in 23, is a study where they looked at umbilical cord plasma concentrate, and they found that it had beneficial effects on DNA methylation, grim-age, and also on 20 different biomarkers that are really significant when it comes to longevity. So if you look at your blood labs right now, and maybe you see that you've got high levels of creatinine or low levels of creatinine, maybe your GFR is starting to tank. You want that between 90 and 120. And if you see your estimated glomerular filtration rate, if you see that start to drop, especially if it gets below 60, that's where it can be dangerous. And so what this research showed is that the glomerular filtration rate increased, creatinine levels decreased where they were elevated, and then they found 3 out of 4 immunoglobulin biomarkers decreased. And then the other thing they looked at is liver function, cardiovascular function, all the inflammatory markers, those improved. And the epigenetic age measures, where you look at clinical biomarkers of organ function and mitochondria, those all improved as well. The telomere length did not improve much in this particular study, but they did find that, as far as addressing some of the causes of aging, that plasma exchange might be one of the most powerful treatments that you could do. And I'll just tell you what I did once I saw the study. I reached out to our perinatal stem cell company, and I said, "Hey, Dr. Korth, can we actually get cord plasma?" And he said, "Oh, well, yeah, I'm sure we can. What do you want to use it for?" And I sent him the study, and I said, "Hey, do your doctors have any interest in this, or have they worked with it before?" And his doctor is on the team who procure and process the stem cells. They do all the testing. They send it off to the third-party lab to verify that the tissue is healthy, it's viable. And so he said, "Yes, I'll get them involved." And so based on this study, we were able to utilize their research and their knowledge and capabilities. And now I was the first client of EastWest. Dr. Steinle and I did this. And the thing that I noticed is when I did the cord plasma is my sleep improved, my deep sleep on average over that first month of doing the treatment. I gained 23 minutes of improved deep sleep. I've been traveling a lot, and I traveled throughout that time period, but that's been a remarkable thing that stuck with me. I know Dr. Steinle, what she noticed is she got pretty tired on the first injection. And so we do advise our clients to, be careful, because, do it at night before bed, and you probably wake up after a great sleep. and won't notice anything. But if you do it in the morning, some people do report feeling a little bit tired because essentially what it's doing is we're taking cord plasma and we're flushing out the toxins in your blood because as we age, what happens is this process called inflammaging. And inflammaging is this inflammatory cytokine and this buildup of toxins in our blood that lead to more inflammatory patterns in the tissue structures. And so one of the reasons why plasma exchange has been important is because it goes back to this physician in the 1850s, so 175 years ago approximately, and he stitched an old mouse to a young mouse, and he said, "What would happen in the immune system and in the how would the organs transform with this treatment?" And what they found is that the old mouse actually took on characteristics of the young mouse. And so they determined that a lot of that was due to the plasma in the blood because the plasma carries nutrients, vitamins, RNA, DNA. It includes albumin, cytokines, different hormones. And in the plasma, it also activates stem cells in the body. And so the stem cells actually are what get called into action when you have clean plasma, and then your body stays young and it regenerates itself. And what we found is when you take plasma, and even in treatments like plasmapheresis, there's doctors who will take your blood and run it through essentially a dialysis machine and pull out the old blood and pull out the old plasma and infuse you with albumin. And that seems to be like an oil change for the blood. But the problem is that treatment, it takes, 5 to 6 hours. You've got to be very careful with when it comes to issues with like blood pressure. And so when I found this capability with cord plasma, I said, well, that's phenomenal because in this study, they found that there was blood cleanup. So in the cord plasma, you're going to have growth factors, cytokines, and all of these bioactive molecules that allow your body to get rid of that accumulated toxin and cellular debris. We found that with these components, the therapy creates a more conducive environment for your cells to function efficiently, which allows for your stem cells to get activated for rejuvenation, and it activates the repair process. We also found that there's peptides that exist in the plasma, and these are short chains of amino acids, and you've heard me talk about this many times, but what they do is they regulate tissue repair and immune responses, and they also enhance the activity of peptides that you're using. So when you stack peptides like epitalin and DSIP, and then some of the growth hormone releasing peptides with cord plasma, you're going to have a much more favorable outcome from the peptides. The research also finds that the liver and kidneys are improved. And I mentioned some of those markers earlier, but they help aid in detoxification. And then supporting those pathways will help support your entire cardiovascular system. And then it also just helps your body's overall maintenance. So some of the properties that have been identified in the cord plasma are insulin-like growth factor 1. And if you guys have ever done IGF-1, LR3, you know that you sleep better, you feel better proprioception, you have a much easier time recovering from your workouts. And so the IGF-1 is one of the natural components that exists in the umbilical cord plasma. There's another growth factor called TGF-beta, and that's transforming growth factor beta. And this cytokine plays a major role in tissue regeneration, wound healing, immune regulation. It's also known for its anti-inflammatory properties. So it's phenomenal if you're looking to recover from a surgery or an injury. The other growth factor that's in there is called the VEGF, or vascular endothelial growth factor. And there's a peptide that promotes both the transforming growth factor and the VEGF, and that's BPC 157. What we call the Wolverine peptide. And so if you're using the cord plasma, it's also a good thing to do, which would be to stack BPC 157. The other growth factor is platelet-derived growth factor. And this one is associated with healing connective tissue. It helps with proliferation of fibroblasts and smooth muscle cells. It also modulates your immune response and helps remodel tissue. So if you're just like if you're going through these and it's like, yeah, these are big crazy words, Reagan, and by the way, these are just the molecules that your body uses to repair itself and regenerate itself. And you're increasing these while you're decreasing like your interleukin 6, tumor necrosis factor alpha, some of those chronic inflammatory responses. And the other thing that you'll find is interleukin 10, which is a potent anti-inflammatory cytokine, had a great impact on that. The erythropoietin, erythropoietin, you can stack ARA 290 and you'll get a nice little bump if you're looking for greater levels of endurance. This is a peptide that also helps heal small nerve fibers. So if you have neuropathy, specifically diabetic neuropathy, it can be a phenomenal boost for you. It reduces inflammation and oxidative stress. In the cord plasma, they have also researchers have identified stem cell factor. And what this is it's a growth factor that's important for the survival and proliferation and differentiation of stem cells. It helps with tissue regeneration. It modulates the inflammatory response. And by the way, in the cord plasma, there's no cellular material. So it's an acellular product, but it does help promote your body's own stem cell growth. And so if you've had treatments, this can be a great way of not only preparing your body to receive stem cell therapy, or if you've received stem cell therapy, this is a great way to reactivate those cells. The other growth factor they found is what's called the hepatocyte growth factor, and that's involved in organ regeneration, wound healing. It's got anti-inflammatory properties, and it helps heal your liver and all the hepatocytes. So, the benefits of it is it's 10 vials, and you inject the vials typically once per week, and that's it. It's a 1 cc, and we send you the vials in dry ice, and then you just thaw those out once a week on the recommended time. And we may have certain peptides in your protocol that you'll be using if you're in our Accelerate Wellness program or our Ageless Future programs. Either one of those, you'll be on certain peptides that will be enhanced by using the cord plasma. What we found is it's a very efficient procedure. It just takes, a couple of minutes, not even that, to inject yourself. It has different immunogenic properties, so it seems to be very safe. It also, in the research, they found that the biomarkers, not only did people seem to tolerate it really well, there were a couple of patients who had some reaction site kind of itching and redness reaction at the site of injection, but it went away within 24 hours. One thing we do recommend is if this is recommended for you, this treatment, then make sure you have like some Benadryl on hand. But so far, been very safe. We've seen a change in LDL cholesterol coming down. We've seen a decrease in homocysteine and C-reactive protein. And we also just see an overall improvement in people's general well-being. So you just feel a little more grounded. So that's the umbilical cord plasma, a phenomenal treatment there. And holy cow, it is something that I think you'll see come online much more in the future. The other thing I'm going to talk about today is part of our Ageless Future program is exosomes. And I guess I should say our exosomes. And exosomes are interesting because what they do is they can help tackle a lot of that age reversal that we're looking at. And exosomes are just basically involved in cell signaling and DNA expression. And these exosomes, they help in kidney repair, liver regeneration, gut healing. Some of the studies that have been done, even on acute kidney injury, if you can include SS31, which has also been studied for acute kidney injury, and then applying some exosomes or MSCs, mesenchymal stem cells, or medicinal signaling cells, that can be one of the fastest ways to recover your kidney function. Liver regeneration. We've seen models, especially mouse models, where liver fibrosis has been improved. Gut healing, IBS, IBD, these things can all be helped. Cardiovascular health. We've had clients who've come in who have been diagnosed with congestive heart failure, and by using exosomes, stem cells, cord plasma, thymosin beta 4, ARA290, BPC 157, and then growth hormone releasing peptides, along with your mitochondrial derived peptides and some of the thymulins, we've been able to help them recover from their congestive heart failure. Exosomes help cognitive function and brain health, protecting you against conditions like Parkinson's or Alzheimer's. Because these exosomes are so small, they do pass through the blood-brain barrier. Exosomes can also help with lung recovery, COPD, or if you have like long COVID, we're finding that it can be very beneficial for that. It also can modulate your immune functions. So if you do, tend to lean towards autoimmunity, or your immune system seems to, if you seem to catch everything that comes around, exosomes can be very powerful for you. It works on pancreatic function. So this is blood sugar dysregulation. We have several of our clients who use exosomes so that they can avoid the excessive use of insulin. And if you stack that with lifestyle and certain peptides, like maybe some of the GLP-1s or 5-MeO-1-MQ, there's a lot of benefits that can come. These MSC, or mesenchymal stem cell derived exosomes, have also been found to promote skin and tissue regeneration. They can be used in the musculoskeletal system. You can actually inject it into a shoulder, a knee. And then in animal models, they found that it helps with vision improvement. So exosomes are really powerful. And where we get them from is the same place we get your stem cells from the umbilical cord. This is our lab right here in the United States. And the mothers are heavily screened. Not only are they looked for communicable diseases, lifestyle, there's an extensive questionnaire they go through that gets very personal. And then once that tissue is procured, it gets processed, it gets taken to the lab within 20 minutes so that it's processed quickly so that we can maintain the highest viability of the stem cells post-op. And where the lab, that same lab is also able to extract the MSCs, or medicinal signaling stem cells, and they can take the exosomes from these stem cells. And so one of the things that we do in our Ageless Future program is once a month, you inject 17 billion exosomes. And what those exosomes do is all the regenerative functions that we just discussed. So it's very easy. It's very well tolerated. It does cover all of the 12 hallmarks of aging. So it helps with genomic instability, with telomere attrition. It helps improve epigenetic alterations, loss of proteostasis, deregulated nutrient sensing, mitochondrial dysfunction. It even helps with cellular senescence, stem cell exhaustion, altered intracellular communication, inflammation, cellular senescence, and gut dysbiosis. So some phenomenal things that happens with the exosomes. And so as you go through this, as you're looking at creating that future that allows you to land in a healthier condition 10 years from now than you are today, Hopefully this gives you some really good insights on things you can do to get your body moving in that very direction. So a lot of these can be done at home. You don't have to come into the clinic. We'll get you a consultation set up with Dr. Steinle. For those of you who want to know if you're a candidate for this therapy, then all you need to do is reach out. You can go to acueastwest.com. You can go to agelessfuture.com and actually apply to get a free blood lab there. And we'd be more than happy to help get you set up if it makes sense. So thanks to you guys. Really appreciate you being part of the community. And if you've done any of these therapies, your challenge of the week is to email me and let me know how you've enjoyed them, what your biggest benefit has been. If you had any adverse events, I want to hear about those as well. So thanks, you guys.